This lecture is about the Spanish, French, and Dutch settlements in North America. The Spanish were the first to establish a permanent settlement in the modern United States. In order to ensure Spanish control over the Caribbean seas, Spain set up a small outpost called St. Augustine, which is now the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the United States. In 1598, Juan de Onate led 500 soldiers and settlers into the southwestern United States, seeking what else? Gold. The Pueblo peoples were living there already and greeted the explorers, but the Spaniards began to torture, murder, and rape the Native Americans to force them to supply food and clothing. In response, some Native Americans understandably got angry about this and killed a number of Spanish soldiers, which in turn resulted in the Spanish killing more than 800 people and capturing the remainder of the village. Captives over the age of 12 were enslaved for 20 years, and men over 25 had a foot amputated. Other Pueblo villages, understandably, surrendered. Of course, the massacre ended up being for nothing, because there was no gold or other riches to be found in New Mexico. Many Spaniards returned to Mexico, but a small outpost was established at Santa Fe. Spanish leaders were granted encomiendas in the area, but with no mines or fertile soil, those who remained did not achieve great wealth. Let's change gears, because that's kind of depressing. On the Atlantic coast, the French sent settlers to the area that Jaques Cartier had explored back in the 1530s. In 1605, they successfully founded Port Royal. Then, in 1608, Samuel de Champlain set up a trading post called Quebec in the St. Lawrence River Valley. In 1642, the French established another outpost called Montreal at the furthest navigable point on the St. Lawrence River. French missionaries came to New France and spread out across the area in order to convert Native Americans to Christianity. These Jesuits used a variety of strategies to gain support of powerful Native American men in order to use that support to generate interest in their religion. They introduced Catholicism in a way that allowed Native Americans to convert without giving up their traditional way of life. However, the Jesuits deceived these peoples into converting. They played on the fear of contracting smallpox by insisting that their Christian faith would protect them from the deadly disease. They also amazed the Native Americans by predicting eclipses with European science and by communicating using writing. Because of their willingness to allow Native American customs to continue, Jesuits were actually fairly successful in converting Native Americans to Christianity. Although European fishermen had been visiting these lands for years to trade for animal pelts, these French outposts quickly took over the fur trade. Despite the trade opportunities, New France maintained only a small population and did not grow significantly out of the St. Lawrence River Valley. The fur trade became much more important after 1614, which is when the Dutch West India Company established Fort Orange on the Hudson River near present-day Albany, New York. The Dutch in New Netherland, as it was called, also traded with the Native Americans for beaver pelts, which led to conflict between the Hurons, who worked with the French, and the Iroquois, who traded with the Dutch. In the 1640s, the Dutch-backed Iroquois used guns supplied by their European friends to wipe out the Hurons, who were already weak because of an outbreak of smallpox. Despite the economic importance of the New Netherlands, it did not expand much beyond the Hudson River Valley, although its major port city, New Amsterdam, would become important in English America under a different name, New York. Don't forget, if you have any questions, write a comment in the discussion area, bring it to class, fill in your identifications, and take the quiz for video 2-1.